Namaste.
Namaste. If you're someone who wants more, you want more money, you want more success, you want more sex, you want more fame, you just want, this one is for you because we're going to talk about the theme of desire. And the theme of desire is really all about wanting. Obviously, it's the theme of lust. It's the theme of like, give me more. And this is healthy at a certain point. So as we're progressing out of fear, it is actually a healthy stepping stone in our evolution of our consciousness to reach a state of desire where we want the things that we desire in life more than the fear of, the unknown or fear of never having them. Aloha, I'm Matt.
And I'm Ash, and we are the Yoga Couple.
We are internationally recognized holistic healers, authors of The Inner Work, and we're here to help you heal your inner child, face and transcend your shadows, and finally unlock a life of true freedom and lasting happiness.
On this channel, we guide you on how to heal yourself through methods like chakra rebalancing, science of mind, transpersonal psychology, and yoga philosophy.
Trust that you are divinely guided to this video.
You are exactly where you're supposed to be.
The answers are here now.
To somebody who is overcoming shame, self-loathing, low self-confidence, past traumas of guilt or hopelessness, or overcoming even grief, getting to a place of desire in their life is actually a big accomplishment, because to somebody who maybe felt like committing suicide and that there was just no hope for their life, getting to the place of wanting and striving and wanting more for themselves is really awesome.
Huge success.
So super healthy.
Yeah.
But it can become a detriment when it becomes an obsession and we get stuck in the wanting and we never move beyond it, and we live in a place of continuous unmet desire.
And how this usually progresses is, at first, it's a healthy sense. It's just like Ash was saying, it's like, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying like making more money for myself. I'm enjoying like maybe taking care of your body and being attractive, or I'm enjoying building a name for myself, or enjoying my reputation, something like this. At first, it's healthy and it feels so triumphant. But what can start to happen is we can start to confuse the actual desire, the thing, as the sense of joy and happiness and fulfillment. So this is where the theme starts to, in a sense, consume us, because the theme of desire is the theme of enslavement and addiction. And so what happens is, let's say I want more attention, more sex from, say, my wife or something. I'm now placing all my happiness on her, or say, being promiscuous when I was single, like I'm giving all my power away to getting sexual attention. Or let's say it's money, and I'm like, I want to have more money, and every time I earn money, I'm like, yeah, I feel good about myself. I'm defining myself through it. These are where the addiction starts. Another good example is like alcohol or drugs. When I take in the alcohol, I take in the drug, and I get high and I feel good, I start to associate my high and good feelings, my fulfillment, with the substance. So whatever the desire is, it can be anything. Whatever the desire is, we give away our happiness to it, and this is how desire entraps us. So yes, there's a healthy phase, but if we start to become consumed in it, then we get stuck in this theme.
And I think actually what we're enjoying is a higher frequency, because all of these themes, from shame to guilt, fear, all the way through up to love, courage, willingness, love, acceptance, all these things, they're all a literal vibration. They are an energy. They are a certain density and frequency. So coming from a lower, denser vibration into a higher vibration, such as desire, feels very good, because it's life-giving, it's life-seeking, whereas the other ones are kind of like life-taking. And so it feels better, and we're confusing the energy and the frequency of wanting goodness for the physical entity we're placing that value on. And it's really just a misplace of the value. What we're really craving is higher vibration, higher frequency, more pranic field, like a bigger, expansive product field. And that is all created internally. And as we shift, as we go through the themes of consciousness, you know, the higher themes become more internal. We start to realize that it's self-created, you know, in willingness, acceptance. As we move up, love and inner peace, we start to realize that it's all within us. Because that shift is realizing that it's prana, it's energy, it's life force energy, it's the energy that perpetuates all the universe that we're after, not the projection of the item or the thing that we're putting it on.
Yeah, so essentially what we're doing is we are experiencing a genuine good vibration. When we say make love to your spouse, or you do succeed and you put in effort and make money or something like that, you are enjoying an elevated state of happiness. The difference though is if the happiness is being attached to the thing, it's a pleasure. It's something that's going to temporarily come and then temporarily go. It's going to fade. So that's the difference in this theme. It's all about delineating what is true happiness and what is pleasure.
So something really interesting is that with our 5 senses, we can see, smell, taste, touch, all these things. The desire is coming from being in that experience of sensation and thinking that the thing is giving us that experience of sensation, when actually we can have the experience of living, perceiving, and feeling and being without there being any external stimulus. We can actually have vision in meditation. We can actually have elevated states of love without there being an object of love in front of us. We can have a state of euphoric, ecstatic bliss and happiness without being on a roller coaster or drinking a drink. But that comes through conscious evolution of practice, of doing the more yogic practices to realize that stimulus doesn't give us an experience. We're getting excited because we're finally being in our senses, and we think that the thing is creating the experience for our senses. It's actually not. Our senses don't need anything external to be in them.
Right, so this theme is actually really interesting because it offers a huge gateway to the higher themes more than any of the other ones, because it's desire, because you are experiencing an elevated state. If we see it correctly, we can jump ourselves into gratitude, contentment, and true love and happiness. It doesn't necessarily have to go through this progression. It's got like kind of a shortcut if we take it. But what normally will happen is we can't help but keep attaching our happiness to the experience. And we keep thinking, no, but really, like, I feel better when I drink, or I feel better when I look at the porn, or I feel better when I get more money. So it's hard for our consciousness to accept that. However, it is possible to do what Ash is talking about, which is to realize you are just allowing yourself to feel what is already innately there. So when you make the money, it's not the money that made you happy. There was already happiness inside of you. It's just that the money triggered you to be like, oh, you can feel this now. It's almost like we're giving ourselves permission to feel what's already there. So we create a arbitrary chase to get to feel joy. And so that's why this is a really peculiar theme, because it does have the opportunity to move right into joy and gratitude if we take it. But what normally will happen is we will become consumed in the desire, which is good in the fact that it's moving us forward. It's making us take action. However, what will happen is we will start to get frustrated that we're not getting our expectations met. And this will move us into anger, which is anger for change, anger for getting my expectations met, and that will take an elevated amount of energy to move out of and move through.
Yeah, anger is actually a higher vibration than desire, and this is because someone in desire usually wants and is projecting their joy and happiness, outside of them, but they don't actually have the life force energy yet to take action. They're just in a state of perpetual wanting, perpetual daydreaming. They've gotten past fear to where they can start to envision a positive future, but they don't exactly have enough life force energy yet to put in the actual physical action to start doing and achieving and getting. But when they realize nothing's happening out of just sitting around envisioning, that snaps them into a higher theme of anger, because they're like, I'm not getting what I want. I'm dreaming about it all day. I'm thinking about it all day. I want, and my life isn't changing. And they finally get angry about that because now they've seen what's possible. And when you see what's possible, as you move into higher frequencies, you're able to start to perceive what's possible for you. Eventually, in the highest themes of reality, you start to go into, the quantum field of what's possible. But in desire, you're able to see what's possible on this 3D reality plane. And when you realize your life isn't a match for that, it actually pushes you into a higher vibration of anger, because you're like, well, I'm gonna make it happen then. I'm gonna change this. Angry for change. I'm gonna get out of this situation. And you get angry.
Right, and more importantly is you go from just wanting, fantasizing, and experiencing it as a hit to instead being like, I want to feel this all the time. So you want to feel happy and fulfilled all the time, not just when you get the hit and then it fades. So what usually pushes us out of desire is, in my experience, and is all the people I've worked with in this particular theme, is you have to usually hit bottom. You have to realize that no matter how many times I keep thinking I'll stay high, I always crash, I always come down, I always have a low. That's gonna eventually stimulate anger to be like, I'm tired of crashing, I'm tired of having a low. I want to do the work I have to do to have a steady, consistent, happy life. So what Ashley was talking about earlier of like, you eventually realize you don't want to ride that roller coaster of highs and lows anymore. You eventually need to use the energy to be like, I'm ready to do the work to have a consistent joy. And usually that means getting sober. So
desire is really a passive wanting, whereas anger is a more aggressive, forceful wanting, because as you move through the scale of consciousness, you move into anger, you start to build expectation for your life, which creates anger, whereas desire is more of just, it's a passive wanting.
Yeah, a really good example of that is, say in my own experience, I have a lot of experience with years, like 14 years of a lot of different addictions, whether it be alcohol, pornography, what else? Just various little life themes like attention or pride. There were all kinds of little addictions that came along, some huge, some smaller, but they were all the same theme. And what they really came down to was a sense of, like, let's say pornography, for example. It's very easy for me to reflect back on that time and realize that what I really wanted was to be loved and wanted. But I'm ultimately living in a delusion that I'm actually getting that. So when I was looking at pornography, I'm living in the passive illusion that these women actually want me. They don't even know I exist. They don't even know I'm looking at them. And yet in my mind, I'm like, they want me. Yeah, they really want me. Or when I drink alcohol, I'd be like, yeah, I'm really doing it. I'm really living like up to my potential. I'm really like crushing it and striving. And it's like, no, you're living in the idea. When I would drink, I would think I was. So desire is really, we're living in a delusion of having all of our desires met, but when we sober up, we realize we don't. When the porn session ends, you realize, oh, I'm actually alone. Or when the alcohol fades, you realize, oh, like I'm actually lower than I was before now, and I have to get back to work, and I actually didn't achieve anything. So, you know, whatever it is, money, whatever the desire was, you eventually realize when the high fades, you realize, oh, I'm actually not what I thought I was in this fantasy.
Which makes you angry. Which
makes us angry, and then be like, enough is enough. I want to actually get the real thing. So that's how we move out of desire, is to realize that so long as we place all this attention and we place all this power on objects of our desire, we are ultimately living in fantasies, and we are ultimately enslaved by it. We're not actually enjoying the true state. We're enjoying a piece of it. And so once we realize that enough times, we will eventually want to change. So it kind of needs to run its natural course. And, you know, it's really this interesting thing of letting people, you know, sometimes we need to hit bottom in order to break free of an addiction, and we got to just kind of do our best to mitigate the damages and fallout from that experience, and try to help people as best we can, and help them see the consequences of the choices that they're making to help that bottom. You know, the bottom gets defined by us. How much we need to lose in order to hit that bottom is defined by us. It can just be Ashley having an argument with me, or it can be getting a divorce and ruining my whole life and ruining the relationship, and then finally maybe I'll get it. So we determine that. So that's, if this is you and you really relate to this, you ultimately determine when is enough enough. When are you going to decide, okay, this is low enough, I don't want to go any lower. So that's the opportunity. The other huge gateway, just want to cover real quick, that we talked about earlier, was there is also the opportunity to realize that the object is irrelevant and that it's actually gratitude and contentment and joy for life that you really want. And that's actually why desire is so fun, is to realize desire is going to come and go. You're always going to want more things. The energy itself is eternal. It's just going to keep flowing like a river. But if you learn to just be grateful for the flow of life and not be attached to it, this can catapult you to the higher themes of, say, acceptance, where it's just, you know, you show up to life with full acceptance of what will be, you enjoy it all as it comes and goes. So that is an opportunity too, if you maybe are willing and ready to just be like, I just want to jump right to that. It's all a progression. It's either that, gratitude and contentment, or we shift naturally into a more angry, like, I gotta fix this energy.
So that theme of desire is inside the inner workbook, as well as all of the themes, and we talk about the progression of what causes you to get stuck in the theme of desire, what is the transcendence in the root program belief, how to get out of it. And like Matt said, the transcendence is to move into gratitude and contentment. And one of the things you can ask yourself is, what are you trying to get? Where are you trying to go? And the answers to these questions will always be much deeper than the thing that you were projecting onto. So if you realize that what you actually want is happiness, or what you actually want is love, not the physical thing or the experience you're projecting onto, it can totally move you into a higher theme and a new narrative for you that you can really work on, which is inside the book, is I'm already whole and complete. Thank you for all that I already do have. Thank you for this glorious journey of my life. I give full effort and release attachment to the outcome. This moment is already filled with so much abundance. I am already appreciative. I already have everything I need. Everything is already perfect. I'm already loved. Things like this. So again, you can find the inner workbook in the link below. It's available on Amazon. And every single possible theme of consciousness you could think of, or thought process, or trauma, or issue you have, can be found somewhere in the scale of consciousness. You'll always fall into one of the themes of consciousness, and there's always a way to transcend it.
Namaste.
Namaste.